Minecraft horror mods have been around for ages. Despite that, most of them still absolutely suck. That's why today I'll be going over the factors which inhibit their ability to be horrifying, and I'll show you what a good horror mod would actually look like. But first, we have to answer the question of why do people even want to play horror mods in the first place? Well, we can ask ourselves the question of why do people willingly experience fear? Why do we play scary games, watch scary movies, tell scary stories? Why do we want to experience something that happens when we are in a state of life or death? Well, it's very simple. Let's say you have two people, Jack and Mark. Jack loves playing horror games. He loves the adrenaline rush. He loves the sweating of the palms and the beating of the heart. But Mark, on the other hand, can't stand it. He hates it, and when he sees blood, he literally wants to puke. And he's even afraid of going to the toilet at night. Now, given those two people, who do you think will perform better under stress? And who will be able to handle extreme situations better? In most cases, that would be Jack, because he has been desensitized to the shock of fear, and he will be able to think clearly and critically under stress. So from an evolutionary perspective, the point of being voluntarily scared is to learn from the experiences and perform better when we are faced in a scary situation. So, now that we know why we like experiencing horror, we can look at Minecraft and answer the question of why do the horror mods suck. It comes down to a few key principles, which derive from the game itself. And if we want to understand them, we have to look at when Minecraft was scary for everyone. So, I want you to imagine your first time playing Minecraft. You are most probably a young lad like me, and when you finally got your parents to buy the game, you were overjoyed. You started playing immediately and experiencing the new and vibrant world. Everything was fresh, and it brought you a sense of novelty. But sooner or later, you found yourself in a different situation when night struck, or you found yourself trapped in a cave. You couldn't see anything, and you were suddenly surrounded by all kinds of creatures you have never seen before. And of course, you did what any sensible player would do. Dig 3 blocks down and spend the whole night underground. Now, those mobs gave you a momentary shock, but a true horror came after that. It came in the silent moments where there was nothing. It was only you, trapped in a vast world, a world as big as Earth itself. And eventually you stumbled up on mysterious structures with no way to explain their origin. This unintentionally created a perfect atmosphere that many games are built upon: pure isolation and loneliness. The absence of ambient noise in the game literally makes the silence loud, and anything unexpected sends your brain into overdrive. It begins to think of all the possible situations, that there's something out there, right behind the corner, constantly watching you, observing your every move, and ready to strike at any time. This is the innate fear that Minecraft creates. It uses the human mind and makes us scared of what isn't there. And this basically creates the perfect opportunity for someone to add a horror mod to the mix. But they sadly fall extremely short, because they're destroying the key principles which made the game scary. To explain this, we will look at the most popular horror mods and why they suck. Let's start off with the Cave Dweller mod. It was developed 1 year ago, and it took YouTube by storm. Everyone was making videos about it, and it even started a search of more horror mods. Now, if you look at the core elements of the mod, it does 3 things. Firstly, it creates a few eerie sounds. Then it begins stalking you. And lastly, when you finally see it, it either runs away or it attacks you. And if you're not aware of its existence, it might give you a slight jump scare. But that's all it can do. It won't make you terrified. It won't make you question your every move. It literally just gives you a momentary shock. And after 2 or 3 times, it just becomes extremely annoying. Now, I don't know if this is because I've seen some things with my time on this planet, or it might be because this mod has a ton of fatal flaws. Firstly, if we look at the target audience, the people watching already know what to expect. They already know they installed this mod into their Minecraft world. They know what they're getting. They know once they enter a cave, this thing is going to try and molest them. Scare them. Yes. And when you know something is there, it isn't as scary. But that alone doesn't make it bad. Because in all honesty, it's the lackluster design that makes it bad. Like, if you're above the age of 5 and this looks scary to you, well then you have some serious issues. Because this thing looks worse than my neighbor's grandma falling down the stairs. It moves like a twig and the voice design is, well, moderate at best. But you might be saying, well, there's a ton of other games out there which have two-dimensional characters and they're absolutely terrifying. And yes, you're absolutely right. Because what I'm about to mention next is its biggest flaw. You see, these mods can be outsmarted extremely easily, and when you can easily defeat something, it poses no real threat to you. And literally, it doesn't make you scared. With that, I would like to answer the most important question. How do we make the mods actually terrifying? Well, we can look at one of my favorite games of all time, Subnautica. It's basically an underwater survival game, and it's absolutely horrifying. Because in this game, you're put on a world filled with water. The creatures are alien-like, and none of what you see can be understood. Every sound you hear could mean danger, but for the most part, your starting experience is surprisingly calm. So, you get a sense of false security. You think that there possibly couldn't be anything out there, but eventually, you hear this. The roar sends shivers down your spine. And when you see the beast, it engulfs you in fear. But then the game does something special. It does the exact opposite thing the Minecraft mods do. In simple words, there's only a handful of these leviathans across the whole map. So your chances of encountering them are quite unlikely. So you will most probably only meet around 5 across your whole 20-hour playthrough. Now, if you look at the Minecraft mods, they throw an entity at you every 10 to 30 minutes. In basic terms, the more times you get scared with the same thing, the less effective it becomes. But Subnautica does so much more than that. You see, once you had your encounter with a Leviathan, your mind will now always think of it when you go to a new and unexplored area. So instead of always using the creature to scare you, it rather uses your own mind to make you even more petrified. Because your mind creates far scarier things in your head than some pixels on a monitor could ever achieve. So with that information, we can now finally answer the question of how do we make the mods actually scary. We have to ease the player in and show him the beast extremely rarely, at most every 2 to 3 hours. Now we also have to make this creature actually terrifying. We can't just use some polygons to make it look normal. No, we have to make something that will engulf him in fear, something that looks like from your nightmares. But not just that, it as well needs to make him feel powerless. That if he tried everything, there is nothing he can possibly do to defeat it. We have to overwhelm him with the sheer power of the beast. And lastly, you need extremely well made sound design. Sound design is 75% of the battle, because with sound you can make the player think of many worse things than what you can with sight. But yeah, that's more or less it. Thank you very much for watching.